Move, girls. Move, girls. Who's hungry? Daddy's coming. Oh boy, everybody's so hungry. They're all gathered around ready to eat. Y'all give me a minute. Hey, Ernie. Hi, bud. Oh no. Looks like Pig Trudy is trapped onto the wrong side of the fence and she's over there with Carl. Trudy, how did that happen, sweetie? Trudy, how are you gonna get back over here, love? So what's been happening? Don't you break that fence. So what I'm gonna do, gosh darn it, Trudy makes my life very difficult. Trudy, if Carl gets me because of you, so Trudy has been walking around the far side and coming up the backside into Carl's pasture. And that makes it really dangerous for Dad. Come on. Newt, if you want to come in, Trudy, move. Newt, if you want to come on right now. So what Trudy can do is go under that fence over there, that gate. Newt, do you want to come in with Daddy or not? Hurry up, Newt. We're not letting Carl over. Ringo, don't you mess with me. All right, everything's fine here. All the babies are coming to eat. So you guys know that we're leaving Carl separated, which is fine. But Newton should not be over there with him. Even though if Newt wants to be, he's fine. He can get in and out. But Trudy wants to be over with Daddy and all of her friends. She needs to be with her friends. Ringo, you're her friend, and you're going to treat her like it. She's a little Ringo, just like you. Oh, boy. Ringo. All right, guys, I brought food. I got all your favorite snacks. Ringo, let me get some food going. So what I'm going to do is walk over here and feed Tina first. Tina's the ostrich, and she deserves to be fed first. Now, I may have to empty out her food bowl from standing water. We had so much rain. Even though we normally cut a couple of holes so water can drain. Oh, there's nothing in here. Let's make it easy. There you go, Tina. Trudy, you don't eat Tina's food. So this is our ostrich mix. You guys know how that works. Now I'll walk over and feed Carl. And then I'll pour out whatever I have left over to my pigs. Pigs and the goats. What am I talking about? Pigs and goats. Goats, friends, and pigs will eat almost anything. You guys remember what I said a while back when I was talking about Tilly and how fat she was. I made a joke, and I did not realize how offensive that joke was to so many people. I said two things. I said, first of all, Tilly can get fat off of air. I don't think anyone was offended by that. But when I said that a lot of people are like that, including myself, that was the part that made a lot of folks freak out. But the bigger thing I said, I joked, and I said, Tilly eats our junk mail. I says, no. I said, seriously, we don't let Tilly eat our junk mail. Guys, I was joking about that. We don't feed Tilly our junk mail, even though she would eat it. All right, I got to pour this feed. All right, so as of right now, Debbie wants to go over and eat with Carl. And that food trough is kind of a little bit far away. Carl, don't be mean to me. I'm going to slide this over so you and Debbie can eat together. Like every couple should. Here, Debbie. This is really sweet. Y'all watch this. Now Debbie and Carl can eat together. Like every man and woman should. If you have a partner, I hope you guys find time to have dinners together. Jamie and I don't eat every meal together, but we try to. And there, look. Now, even though they're separated by a gate, at least they're able to eat their meals together. Debbie, eat like a lady, sweetie. Don't. I do believe that Carl eats like a typical man. But as you can see, Debbie has picked up on his bad habits, and she does not eat like a lady. Not one bit. All right, time to feed our other babies. Now listen, this is actually Debbie's food trough over here. Debbie could actually eat with Carl, or she'd come eat over here. Either way, I'll leave that for her. Now I'm gonna walk in and feed these babies. And as you can see, Tiny Tim, he got an appetite. He's ready to eat. I know it's a little bit hard to see because of the sun glare, but we put out our goat feed, which is the same things our alpacas eat. And so now all we have to do is drop our corn for our pigs. We try to feed, if we can, in these containers off the ground. We never, ever, ever put food onto the ground anymore. Now that our goats and our alpacas are eating together. Hello! Aren't you well, okay. We try really hard not to feed on the ground, even though sometimes you can't really help it. There you go, Sissy. Sissy likes having her own little special place. She and her little ones are especially fond of eating together. Look at them. Well, Shirley Bird's gonna join in there too. And, but I still put corn on the ground for my pigs. But you can't always prevent your goats from walking around eating with your pigs. Goats will do stuff like this over here. Our only worry, and we've learned this the hard way, obviously, is when our goats end up eating where the alpaca, no, I'm saying that backwards. Our worry is when the alpaca eat where the goats poop. And so we try to avoid feeding on the ground directly, but problem is that's where our pigs like to eat from. Your pigs naturally like to root. They want to walk by and eat from the ground like they're doing right over here. And you cannot really, if they're sharing a pasture, you can't always control what your alpacas walk around and nibble on. So I'm going to ask you guys about something, but it doesn't really matter what you say. I'm curious of what you're going to say, but I don't think that you see the bigger picture of it all. So let me show you how we have one entire paddock that right now is kind of going to waste. And I'll tell you about the dilemma that we have as managers of the property of the farm. So it's this, I know that sun has to be bothering me. Let me see if I can get behind this tree. Okay, so I'm gonna start and talk about this paddock right here. This is a fairly large paddock that has its very own loafing shed. We do get grass to grow on that back side where it gets plenty of sun. The front side over here stays nice and shady. We have lights and a fan. And this is a great paddock. But we feel bad for putting our alpaca into this paddock over here, because when they're over here, they don't have access to the pastures. And I mean those pastures. The alpaca like to go over there by day and hang around and do alpaca type stuff. They graze. And when the alpaca were here in this pasture, even though it was nice and safe, you know, we didn't have any possible ways of cross-contamination with our goats. You know, Ernie regained a lot of his health back. Annie raised her baby. This is a great paddock for them, but this paddock does not offer any way to get out to the pasture. So you're probably saying, okay, Lester, I have a great idea. Why don't you move Carl? There's Carl. Why not let Carl have this paddock over here, close the gate, and this paddock is the same size as that paddock. And then we could let all of the alpaca and the ladybirds, our pigs and our goats, just share both of these loafing sheds and both of these paddocks. And Carl is really the only one who has to be isolated. And here's our problem with that. Our water hose. This is the way we turn on and turn off our water. And we're unable to go inside the pasture or the paddock with Carl. So we really are in a pickle over here. You get our dilemma. We're in a pickle. If we need to go in to turn on or turn off our water for whatever reason, we can't do so if Carl's in here. So it really makes it difficult, and I don't know the best solution. So I do know that a lot of folks don't like seeing the alpacas with our goats, especially when it comes time to feeding. But no matter what, that's probably going to happen. That's going to be the norm. So what we have to do is just be a little bit more careful and vigilant and make sure that when we put our feeds out, our feeds go into the red containers. We keep our concrete cleaned off, so in case the goats do end up pooping on the concrete, the alpaca will not come along and eat behind them. And then the way they're eating over here, like you see the way Lenny's eating, the way Laverne's eating, your goats are not going to climb up inside the red containers and poop. They won't. Goats will poop out there along over there. And you can't control if your goats want to eat there with your pigs. You just hope that your alpaca don't make it a habit of doing that. But I'm going to tell you, and you guys probably know, that it's going to sometimes happen. As sure as I'm standing here, Annie will reach down in just a second and take her a bite of that corn. Ernie will walk around and he'll reach down and take a bite of that corn. And so there's going to be a little bit of that kind of contamination. We just have to try to keep it to a minimum. Ooh-wee. Watch yourself there, Candace. Annie's like, not while I'm nursing, you're not. So that is a little bit of the dilemma and the drama and all the things that we have to worry about here when it comes time to our feeding habits. Make sure we offer a place where our littles can eat, our alpacas can share with them, where they're not going to have a whole lot of possibilities of getting themselves exposed to barber pole, coccidia, and other parasites that could very easily live here on the ground. And then I would say another thing is constantly monitoring. Jamie is really good about walking out and grabbing a goat here or there and checking their eyelids or their gums to make sure that they're the right color. And we try to stay on top of that the best that we can. But guys, it's a never-ending battle. And I'm not going to say it's a battle that we always win. Everyone knows that on occasion you do lose one or two. And we've lost some good ones. I think that probably Okie Dokie was the most iconic. Did y'all see the picture? She's like, get away from my corn. Dad says you can't eat off the ground. Now move it, sisters. Trudy, I love you. I think that by and large, we're doing a pretty good job with keeping our goats parasite-free, keeping our alpaca parasite-free. We do take in the stool samples on occasion to have them looked at. But losing Okie Dokie last year was just a huge loss. And I do think that we're a whole lot better off here than what Ellie and Megan are at the sanctuary. They're in Plum Grove. Their pastures being exposed to so much with flooding just has really put them at a horrible disadvantage. Whereas we have all kinds of space. We have paddocks we can rotate if we need to. But anywho, I wanted to address that. Thank you all for watching the video. We absolutely look forward to reading any and all comments, even those that may disagree with the way that we manage and do things. But we just ask that you keep your comments respectful and kind. And we are all in this together, even though we may have different ways of doing it. Thank you all for watching. We're blessed to have you. And what we'll do is catch you guys on the next video.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.